This is a follow-up to our earlier video about how Donald Trump's borders are. Tom Homan was apparently caught on tape by the FBI accepting $50,000 in cash in what appears to be a bribe. And then when Donald Trump took over, the FBI under Trump canceled that investigation. Now, in that video talking about this egregious act of corruption, I mentioned that there was a curious response from some prominent MAGA influencers, and I specifically named Megyn Kelly. That's what this video is about, because Megyn Kelly had what seemed to me like an almost deranged psychotic break, a Laura Loomer tier meltdown of epic unhinged proportion that was so unhinged that I had to like double check and see if it was a fake account or if I misread it. But no, this is the real deal. This is very successful right-wing podcaster and former Fox News host and lawyer Megyn Kelly reacting to the news that Tom Homan was caught on tape accepting a cash bribe. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Folks, what you are about to see is full-fledged nuclear weapons-grade MAGA brain rot and how it can infect people who might otherwise come from a more conventional journalistic background, even if it's conservative, and who indeed are even willing to criticize Trump from time to time still. So here we go. It's all on Twitter. In response to the story breaking, Megyn Kelly goes on Twitter and says, "We do not care. Don't bother at real Tom Homan. He's a national treasure." And everyone was like, what? What? So former Republican strategist and founder, I shouldn't say founder, I think he's one of the founders. He's currently the head of the Bulwark, the wildly successful Never Trump Republican site. Tim Miller says, wait, you don't care that government officials are taking cash bribes? What? Megyn Kelly responds to Tim Miller with this. This is the unhinged part. It's long, folks. It's insane. And we're going to see some of the reactions to this. But this was a Laura Loomer tier unhinged meltdown. Brace yourselves. She says, "We don't trust you. We don't trust the work of your president's DOJ. We don't trust the work of your president's FBI. You indicted our presidential candidate 4 times with made-up BS charges, trying to put him in jail for life. You changed laws so he could be civilly sued by a woman who didn't even remember what year her alleged rape by him was. You let an attorney general who ran for office promising to get Trump try to bankrupt him on a claim so specious even the New York appellate court scoffed at it and had to reverse the damage award. But not the ruling. Not the ruling. See what she did there? They scoffed at the amount that Trump was ordered to pay, not at the ruling itself. I'm telling you, folks, this is unhinged and dishonest as hell, but we'll continue. One of yours killed Charlie, and then you laughed at our pain, protested our vigils, and said Charlie was to blame and in hell. You lied about the killer's motives and said he was MAGA when you knew he wasn't. You put us all in danger by not admitting the truth and then not relenting on the lies you tell about us. You cried endless tears for Jimmy Kimmel, but none for Charlie." None of that applies to Tim Miller. None of it. None of it. This is real. This is Megyn Kelly, the Megyn Kelly. That Megyn Kelly. This is her, okay? Not Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly. You gleefully canceled all of us for 5+ years and danced when we suffered. You censored us and ruined careers of distinguished doctors and others who dared say the truth during COVID and George Floyd. You cost our children years of learning during lockdowns and endangered them with deadly myocarditis by burying the risk disclosures and never apologized or owned it. I will remind you, the myocarditis risk from COVID exposure is a hell of a lot greater than the myocarditis risk from the COVID vaccine. So if you're worried about myocarditis, better to get the vaccine than to be exposed to COVID. Let's continue. Your government tried to strong-arm Fox into firing Tucker because his January 6th coverage, and you said not a peep about the First Amendment. You changed Title IX with a stroke of a pen without consent and endangered and hurt our defenseless daughters. You sterilized and cut off the healthy body parts of our children and want to keep doing it. This is Tim Miller of the Bulwark, Republican. Not exactly a leading advocate for trans reassignment surgery, but it doesn't matter. Let's continue. You lied about a near vegetative president being fine with the nuclear codes. You personally had Doug Emhoff as the scandal of alleged woman abuse and cheating broke out, and you didn't ask him one question about it. Then you tried to tell us you care about women. You opened the border and let in 10 million illegals who killed Laken Riley and 12-year-old Jocelyn Ngari after they sexually assaulted her and threw her off a bridge, along with the countless other innocents they raped, murder, and molest to this day. So no, we don't care what you say about Tom Homan. We do not trust you. We only care about defeating you. That's real. That's a real thing, as she said. Now, it's not real in the sense that most of it were lies and misrepresentations, right? So, a couple of things, again, that I pointed out. Democratic leaders and elected Democrats condemn the violence against Charlie Kirk and political violence in general. So when you said, you laugh at our pain, protested our vigils, and said Charlie was to blame and in hell, who are you talking about? Who specifically are you talking about? And why is Tim Miller of the Bulwark or Josiah at Pondering Politics representative of that? Who said that he was MAGA when we knew that he wasn't? Number one, who said he was MAGA, and who said he was MAGA when we knew that he wasn't? And what are you talking about cancel culture? Where did the Biden administration or Obama administration cancel people the way that the Trump administration did with the FCC? The fact that people boycotted and called for cancellations, that's what private citizens can do. It may be despicable, it may be annoying, it may be totally overwrought, but it's not the federal government publicly threatening. Where did the Biden administration threaten Fox News, or the Obama administration threaten Fox News over Tucker Carlson? So again, so many issues here. But I want to focus on that last part. We don't care what you say about Tom Homan. We don't trust you. We only care about defeating you. In other words, Megyn Kelly is admitting Tom Homan can do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't care, because it's about owning the libs. Now, let's look at some other things. So Tim Miller responded, "You seem to struggle with pronoun usage. I didn't do anything," you tweeted. "Joe Biden was no more my president than your president. And I don't know why you would slander rank and file FBI agents who did their job and investigated a blatant crook." It was very long, and I got bored reading it, so if she said anything crazy in the back half, I missed it. It's pretty funny. One more thing. One of mine didn't kill Charlie, unless you mean he was a human or a man like me. Charlie's assassin is accountable for his actions. I'm accountable for mine. You're accountable for yours. That's how things work in a liberal democracy, and that's how Christians know God judges us. My show focused on the tragedy of Charlie's killing. There was deep sadness, not glee. I didn't laugh or lie. His death shook me deeply. It was hard to get out of bed, to be honest. It scared my family. I began the show by decrying anyone who participated in the behavior you object to in the wake of his death. I reject your slander of your fellow Americans. I abhor this attempt to accelerate us into a civil war where half the country are made responsible for the actions of one sick kid. One day I hope you reflect on the ways you have used your friend's assassination to further poison the country for his kids and ours. Megyn Kelly responds, he thinks we are the ones responsible for pushing this country towards a civil war. The absolute gall. Tim responded again, "You seem struggling with pronouns. There is no we. I am condemning your behavior singularly, and frankly, you're making it very easy because it's so appalling." Now, Tim Pool responded with this, and Megyn Kelly retweeted it. "After many conversations, I've noticed, and it's fairly obvious, that those who knew Charlie are personally way more radicalized than those who just knew of Charlie. I think many people don't understand what it feels like to watch a gruesome murder of your friend. Covering the news and having conversations about the world for decades, and with a heavier involvement recently, it's substantially more enraging and terrifying when your friend looks to you and says, quote, they killed Charlie, as opposed to, quote, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I see many on the right acting like we have to defend the celebrations, lies, and smears from the left and prominent Democrats, despite the purpose being to justify his murder. I will not abide it. Those people have crossed a line, and there's no coming back from it." In response to this, Joe Walsh, former Republican congressman, former Tea Party Republican, former Trump-supporting Republican, said this: "You see, Trump is what happens when people don't care. They don't care if he lies, cheats, steals, rapes, breaks the law, or makes $1 gazillion while in office. They wouldn't care if he was a pedophile or if he shot someone in the middle of New York City. He's their retribution. Period." Right, at Megyn Kelly? Right. So you look at this unhinged post from Megyn Kelly, where again, she just drops all pretense and says, "I hate you. It's about crushing you, and I don't care what I have to say or do. I don't care what the people around me have to say or do. As long as they're worried about defeating you, that's it. There is no red line, no act of corruption, no act of criminality. It is irrelevant. It's about owning the libs. That is it. That is the one test it got 62,000 likes on Twitter. Now, a lot of people, myself included, mocked her, and rightly so, for her obvious psychotic break. Check in with your shrink post-haste. You went from primetime anchor to professional victim. Trump broke you, NBC canceled you, and MAGA is your last refuge. You once warned Americans about Trump's misogyny. Now look at you. Kyle Kalinske says that's a lot of words to say you're fine with corruption as long as it's MAGA doing it. Former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger says you're psycho. We only care about defeating you. That sentence alone is everything that's wrong with our country. No debate, no discussion. No, we're just going to own the other side. Policy be damned. They'll destroy free speech before owning up to their own iniquities. Hutch, friend of mine, friend of the show, points out that the Biden's Justice Department indicted multiple Democrats. Brett Meiselas of Midas Touch says, please seek help. I know the money is probably good, but this isn't healthy. I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you, though, or sorry that happened. Someone is triggered. Get some fucking therapy, you clown, and quit projecting the actions of one person on all of us. You do better to focus on the actions of your ailing president. You need therapy. Please seek help. Megyn, your rant is a flaming pile of half-truths, distortions, and outright lies. You scream about trust while spinning the narrative so twisted it could pass for fiction. Let's burn this down. Rachel Biddickoffer says 4 made-up charges everyone could see. You're such a hack. And it just goes on and on and on like this. But the likes, if they're not from bots, 62,000. Let's look at the quote tweets. I'm curious. Quote tweets. Megyn going crazy. Okay, so again, people celebrating her. Megyn nailed it. Would it really hurt to put in a little effort to determine if Kelly, number one, doesn't care about the bribe or doesn't care about the sources who are alleging that Homan took bribes? Let's see. Patriot, brilliantly stated. Others, again, pushing back. She's breathing fire. So this is the new prevailing MAGA sentiment. The reason again, is Megyn Kelly is because, again, she's a lawyer. She was a professional journalist at one point, even though she was right-wing and increasingly right-wing. She was a major star on Fox News. She left Fox News to try to break into the other elements of mainstream media. I think it was NBC. And even to this day, she will occasionally criticize Donald Trump. And she's wildly successful, wildly popular, wildly successful. And so for her to go full mask off like that and have, again, a psychotic break over that and to retweet that, we're being radicalized by Charlie Kirk's death. Listen, Charlie Kirk's death, again, we have condemned the political violence here at Pondering Politics, and we will be consistent with that. Charlie Kirk had repulsive opinions. I did not like or respect him. But in this country, who I like and respect and who Megyn Kelly likes and respect is irrelevant. We are all equally, liberals and conservatives, afforded protections under the First Amendment, and we shouldn't have to fear for our safety or our lives for expressing views that other people don't respect or like. But she's admitting what happened to him is radicalizing her to the point of just overt hatred for the other side, where, again, the only outcome, the only factor, not the primary factor, the only factor is about owning the libs. That's where we are. And when you pair it with everything else I've talked about, the massive institutional and media advantages that the right enjoys and how Trump is going for broke, it seems, with his authoritarianism, we are truly in a dangerous place. And that is why, folks, Democrats have to win the 2026 election. They have to keep winning elections. And when they win elections, from centrist Democrats to progressive Democrats, we all have to agree that there are some major institutional changes which need to be enforced. We need to break up media conglomerates and consolidations, diversify the media landscape so we don't have media concentrated in the hands of just a handful of anybody, but especially MAGA billionaires. And we also have to change the structure of the government such that it is more democratized and winning elections is not so damn hard. It shouldn't be a sheer cliff challenge. They should be competitive. The Senate should be competitive. The Supreme Court should be competitive. The Supreme Court should also face enormous reform. The House should be competitive. Gerrymandering should be banned at the federal level, blue states and red states. Democrats have to win elections, which means centrist and progressive voters need to vote for Democrats because this shit wouldn't be happening if Democrats were in power. So people who didn't vote for Vice President Harris, sorry to tell you, you fucked up royally. You fucked up royally. You should have voted for Harris. And this is the tension. Democratic candidates need to try to court votes. That's their burden. Harris should have done a better job trying to court both the center and the progressive left. And people on either side of this issue, the center and the progressive left, when the Democrat is an option and the only other option is a Republican, you should vote for the Democrat. And then once Democrats get elected, they actually have to wield the power and not be afraid of it. And that's where the centrists are at fault. So it's like a two-pronged issue. When it comes to elections, the bigger problem is usually the further left. That's a problem. And then when Democrats do win elections, the reason we don't see meaningful change is usually because of the centrist politicians. So both sides have their issues. Far left voters, centrist Democratic candidates. And we have to resolve that. It's like, hey, you need to vote for the Democrat. And hey, asshole, when you get voted in, you need to actually wield the power. Because when Megyn Kelly has a sort of reaction like this, like that's how you know the MAGA movement is hitting its fever pitch. That we are truly turning a corner and this thing is getting even more dangerous. So we have to solve this peacefully, but at the ballot box, relentlessly. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.